Hi, this is Kathleen from Bailey Academy, mom of 5, homeschooling 3 of them, ages 10, 13, and 17. I recently did a hits and misses video for grade 4 and grade 7, so this is my hits and misses video for grade 11. So my now rising grade 12 had an interesting grade 11 year. Well, technically we still have 2 weeks left, but we're almost done. And we do semesters, so she did technically 5 classes first semester and 5 classes the second semester, but one of those classes was the same both semesters and was a half class, so she did 4.5 technically. She likes to have a hard schedule, which she found out is not easy to do, especially with extracurricular activities and now a job. So next year will not be doing so tough for our grade 12 year. But anyways, this is about grade 11. So in math, she did geometry, and we tried easy peasy geometry, and that didn't work out so well. Not that there was anything wrong with it, just that she was struggling. She's both really good at math and also struggling with math, just like my son. So we found like last year she tried teaching textbooks for algebra, and the problem was if she didn't know how to do it, I hadn't watched the video with her, so I couldn't remind myself what to do so I could help her. So then we had to rewatch the whole video. It took forever. So then for this year I don't remember what we did last year, honestly. But this year we decided to try easy peasy, figuring I could quickly just look up the description and what it says to do, and then help with the questions. And again, it wasn't too bad, but we got the chance to try Learn Math Fast curriculum, and so I jumped at the chance of that because I like the idea of having one curriculum for all your kids for all their years, all done at once. So my daughter has gone through the first few books, because they tell you even if you're like grade 11 level, you go through book 1 because you want to make sure you haven't missed anything. If you've missed, you don't have a multiplication table memorized, or you don't remember how to do something with fractions or anything like that, then how you're supposed to do algebra and geometry. So you go back through the books quickly, and she went through them really fast, and now she's on the last book, and she's trying to finish it up before the end of the school year, but we'll probably be working through the summer to get it finished, because she's supposed to be taking things like calculus and vectors and something or other next year, the higher math. So she has to have all the algebras and geometry done. So she's on the 7th book, and we're going to have an official review coming up very soon. But we are loving it, and that was definitely good for us. So although the easy peasy geometry wasn't horrible, this was definitely better for us to have a book that she doesn't have to have a computer, and keeps her from being distracted, but also just right in front of you. It's like called Learn Math Fast because it's quickly explained, and then there's a couple questions, and if you know it, then you move on. So that was math. For English language arts, or English as we called it, we tried a couple things. So we did the Grammar for Writers course from Compass Classroom. We were able to try that for them and to do a review, and it was pretty good. She found that grammar, she didn't know as much about grammar as she thought she did, and so a lot of it was teaching stuff that she don't ever learn. She's like, I don't know why, but in the public school, when she was in public school, they seemed to have not actually taught grammar. She knew what a noun and a verb and all that stuff was, but she didn't learn anything about clauses or sentence fragments or whatever the other words are that I can't think of at the moment. So I found it a bit hard if you don't have any basics in grammar. But if you grew up in homeschool or in public school that actually taught you proper grammar, then the Grammar for Writers course was cool. So that wasn't like necessarily a hit or a miss. It was great, but it wasn't it was good, but it wasn't great. I do recommend it if your child just needs a little grammar touch up is more focused on writing. Then that's like grammar for a specific reason instead of just grammar for grammar's sake. We also this year followed what the high schools do around here. In grade 11, your English course is as an Indigenous background. So again, I made my own thing. You did the Coursera Indigenous course. Can't think of what it's called at the moment, but I will link it below. Completely free online. As long as you don't want a certificate that shows you did it, then it's completely free online. Canadian specific Indigenous course. And so she did that a couple times a week, did Grammar for Writers a couple times a week, and we also read books that I found recommendations for, Canadian Indigenous books, read them and did discussions or book studies for them. That worked out well. So I like that, and I will continue that for my other two, as I think it's important to include Indigenous history. In science, she did a couple sciences. She did oceanography, which we did with Easy Peasy. It's free. Easy Peasy is completely free. So in that regard, for a free oceanography course, it's great. It had science experiments, which were fun. It had some things were a little like off or didn't quite work, and it was a Christian viewpoint, which is not. We're not Christian. Well, I'm Christian, but the kids aren't Christian, so that she didn't. I just sort of skipped over the parts that were less sciencey. So if you're looking for completely secular oceanography, that's not going to work. But if you don't mind some Christian, or you are Christian, that would work. So it wasn't too bad. For biology, we started off with a textbook that we got for free. Found it was very outdated and had some incorrect information and words that we don't use anymore. So I got Biology for Dummies from the library, and we continued with that as almost using as a textbook. Worked out pretty well. And then I included like extras like videos and documentaries and things like that as well. And then she also did a nature course. She wanted to do a nature study, so I made a nature study course for her, which I intend to make a blog post and YouTube video about at some point about how I did that in case somebody else wants to do it. So I just we'd used a bunch of stuff. Nature Anatomy book by Julia Rothman is definitely, and the daily skill building people, they make you can buy a workbook for it, I guess you'd say, a printable workbook. It's definitely made for grades 3 to 8, so it's not made for high school, but I didn't use it as the only thing we did anyway. So and her illustrations were a lot more detailed than a younger kid would. So we used that when near the end of the year, because her arthritis is really hard for her to draw a lot and write a lot. So we ended up having her just read the book and just make flashcards or draw pictures of the ones that she wanted to, and that worked out better. But she did lots of other stuff too, including actual things in nature, as well as reading books or watching documentaries or trying different things. I found lots of resources, so we did that. I'm probably forgetting stuff here. For languages, she did ASL and French and Latin. I think that's it. Yeah. So if you count English, that'll be 4 languages. So for ASL, we used Ablelingual and ASLU, as well as some extras that I found. And again, I will make something about that eventually. But Ablelingual we did get for review, and I'm very happy with it. It's all video based, and you can pick what you want. So like there's videos that are good for a beginner ASL, or for my daughter who's not a beginner. There was lots of good things to choose from for her too. And so there was lots of this was like 1,000 most popular signs, or can't think of what the brain doesn't want to comprehend. But anyways, Ablelingo, you can pay for certain courses, or you can pay one big lump sum for the year, and you can have access to all the courses whenever you want, which is what we got. And so you can have multiple kids using it at once. You can use it yourself. You guys can watch the same video on different devices, whatever you want. So we used that, and we did lots of cool stuff with that. And for French, we tried a few different things. We ended up getting these French books that we used, and I forgot to review, so I need to do that. And so I can't think of what it's called, and I don't have it with me, so I will put link to it in the description, and then also I'll be putting up a review soon of the French books. We used that, as well as just other things that we added in. Again, just adding in anything I can find. I like to be the teacher. I don't want to just take the curriculum and be like, here you go, this is what you do. I like to actually play teacher and plan activities and lessons plans, and and I'm not saying one way or the other is right or wrong. That's just what I like to do. She also did anthropology. I'm not sure what that's. I guess that's a social science. And she's just finishing that up this year. We used Anth 101, ANTH101.com. I'll link it below. It's a free anthropology course, and only 10 weeks. So we added some extra stuff into it, but it's been really cool. It definitely would be better with a classroom, but you can absolutely do it with a homeschooler. And she shares things on to a special Instagram account she makes for the account for the course, and shares what she's learning and things like that through the course, and that's really cool. So she's working on her final project for the lesson 10 this week and next. And I was trying to remember if there's anything else she took, because my brain doesn't want to work today or any day. Let's see, did she take anything else? English, French, math, biology, oceanography, nature studies, ASL, French, anthropology. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but I can't think of what it would be. Forgot to talk about Latin. So we started off with using Wheelock's Latin, which is a very heavy book, and I don't recommend using it for homeschool. We did a bit of that, and added in some extra things that I found, and we managed to get through that, but it was definitely not what I recommend for homeschool. So that was a miss. Do not use Wheelock's Latin. I honestly don't recommend it for anybody who's homeschooling, not just for my family. And shush! ASL worked well the way that I did it. Grammar for Writers was okay. The Indigenous course, Coursera, awesome, definitely a hit. And my homemade nature studies was a hit for sure. And now my dog has officially become very annoying, so I will let you go. See ya. Bye.